Welcome back. In this tutorial we're going to cover rectangular pattern. And one of the things that I meant to show you under hole creation was a different way to put in holes. So we're going to go ahead and do that real quick on this rectangular prism that we've got. And we're going to pick the face that we would drill into if we had a drill in our hands. And I'm going to go with a no-seated simple hole. Let's go with a 1/2 inch diameter. And now what I can do to locate this is select edges. So if I select this edge, I can type a dimension. And if I select this edge, I can type a dimension. And we'll use that to locate our hole. And then when we want to change that, if we double click this, we can then see those dimensions as if they were in a sketch. However, they don't have a sketch that we created. It automatically made that sketch when I did my face placement. Okay, so to get on with a rectangular pattern is just that. So it will pattern in different directions. So the first thing it's asking for, and this is where I kind of go from the top to bottom, left to right kind of a philosophy. First thing I want to pattern is my hole. Now, I'll give you a word of caution. I can pick the hole from here, but you see it's kind of dependent on where I pick. You know, you would think that it would pick a little more inside, but it's on the circle. Pro tip, pick it out of the model tree. The model tree doesn't care where you pick it as long as you know which feature you're picking. Direction 1, let's make that the X. So I'm going to pick along the X-axis. I can also pick the actual X-axis. Now it's giving me a quantity. And you'll notice when I hover this, it gives me a quantity of 2.00 UL. UL stands for unitless. There is no unit for a quantity of something. If I say, give me 5 apples, it's 5 apples. It's a quantity of 5. You can't say, give me 5 pound apples. You can give me 5 pounds of apples. But there is no unit to a quantity. And that's important because the units, obviously, for distance are inches. So let's go ahead and change our quantity to 4. Let's make it 5. And 1 inch spacing. This is a 6 by 3 inch block. So now I can hit OK. And now I've got my pattern of my holes. And I can see that this pattern has reoccurring features in it. It tells me that that is hole 1, and it gives me all of my pertinent information there. Now if I want to change this, again, be careful not to double click the name, because sometimes it will want to, of course now I can't make it do it. If you don't do it fast enough, it'll let it rename it. So I'll double click over here, and let's change our, actually let's add a dimension in our Z. So we'll pick our Z, or we can pick an edge. The nice thing about picking an axis is these axes here aren't going anywhere. So that's just something to remember. So let's make this spacing 3, and we notice that it's going to take a chunk out of the side of our part. Inventor doesn't care. It'll just go ahead and do it. In fact, if I change this to 4, even though I've got nothing over here, it doesn't care because it can have a result if this size of this block is changed, let's say. So just something to keep in mind. So let's change this to 3, but let's change our spacing to 0.5. Let's go 0.75. There we go. So we would have to obviously think a little bit about how this is going to be spaced out. Now, one neat thing that you can do is you can come in here and you can say that you don't want this, or this occurrence. You can right-click suppress those, and now they are turned off. So if we were to come over to hole 1 and change this dimension to, let's say, 0.5. Sorry, my OCD is kicking in a little bit. See, now we're not quite centered up. So we would have to do some math and figure out where our dimensions need to go. So we'll go ahead and call that a wrap for this one. And next will be circular pattern off of the same part. Thanks.